Pretty interesting start to the NFL season with the Cowboys and the Eagles. Eagles pulled out the win 24-20. As we know how the game started, Jalen Carter started the game with getting ejected by spitting on Dak Prescott. Now, a lot of people saying that, hey, Dak Prescott spit first. If you watch the tape, Dak is standing a good amount of feet away from Jalen Carter when he spits into the ground. He did spit, but he was spitting towards the ground, towards the turf. Quarterbacks do that a lot. If you don't really pay attention, quarterbacks actually do that a lot during games. A lot of football players in general spit throughout the course of the game. But to play devil's advocate, I guess maybe Jalen Carter saw that Dak was kind of facing him when he spit into the ground, so he felt compelled to kind of stand his ground and walk over and say, like, well, what are you doing? He's trying to show me up, whatever. Just kind of crashed out. But that's kind of wild, just to think that just because of that, you have to walk over and actually spit on somebody. I think there's something really wrong there, if I have to say so, because that's one of the most disrespectful, disgusting things you can ever do to another person is to spit on them under any circumstance. So Jalen Carter gets ejected. You see immediately the impact that has on the game. The Cowboys were able to run the football right up the middle in the interior where Jalen Carter normally mans that, and they had a lot of success doing that. Javonte Williams, ended up running for 2 rushing touchdowns, and they were pretty physical to start the game. And had the Cowboys have won that game, it would have put even more onus on Jalen Carter. You got to grow up and stop having these incidents, because this isn't the first time that we've talked about Jalen Carter when it comes from a disciplinary standpoint, whether it's on the field or whether it's off the field. But nonetheless, Jalen Hurts and this Eagles offense really picked up the slack where the Eagles defense was lacking a little bit. I thought Jalen Hurts played a damn near perfect game. This is why, in my opinion, he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. I have him personally at number 5. You look at his stats, it's like it doesn't wow you or anything like that. Everyone's looking at the stats and it's like, there's no way he's a top 5 quarterback. Like, how can you even say that? Well, for me, it's not with Jalen Hurts especially. It's not about the final stat line. It's about he's the kind of quarterback where it's like, what do you need from me to win the game? What do you need from me this game to get the win? That's Jalen Hurts. It's not going to rival the AFC 4 that I have over him in the top 5. Mahomes, Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. It's not going to rival that. You look at Jalen Hurts' stat sheet right now, 19-23, 152 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Jalen Hurts does what it takes to win this particular game. However it has to look, he's going to do what needs to be done to win the game. That's what you want in the franchise quarterback. That's what top quarterbacks do. They do whatever it takes to win, whether it looks good, whether it looks gaudy in the stat sheet or not. Now, give a lot of credit to the Eagles offensive line. You absolutely have to do that. Micah Parsons clearly was missed. The pass rush was non-existent. I mean, non-existent. Hurts got sacked, once this entire game maybe? But most of the time, it seemed like on every play, Hurts had time to look left, look right, back to the middle. It's like, oh, wait, nobody's open? Okay, I'll just go run for a first down. Or I'll go run for another touchdown. He did not look uncomfortable at any point in the game, quite frankly, in my opinion. Dallas actually did it. But here's the thing with Jalen Hurts. Saquon Barkley didn't dominate this game. He had about 60 yards total or something like that. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts' 2 top receivers, combined for 4 catches of maybe just over 20 yards, yet they still won. That's what I mean by Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback, because you have all that going on. Most quarterbacks probably aren't going to win when your top guys aren't producing. No, he did what needed to be done to win this particular ugly sort of game. The momentum got knocked away when with the delay and everything, the lightnings and all that stuff. So naturally, momentum's killed. Defense isn't really looking good against the Dallas Cowboys offense. And I gotta say, speaking of the Eagles defense, I'll be very concerned if I'm an Eagles fan walking away from this game. Like, yeah, you got the win, obviously, but I think there's some concerns in that Eagles secondary. I think that they're going to get lit up at some point this season a few times. There were a lot of penalties on the defensive side of the ball for the Eagles, and I think that's something that's definitely going to be a point of emphasis as the Eagles move forward in the season. Like on the other side, with the Dallas Cowboys, like I said, Micah Parsons was definitely missed. This defense had no answer for this Eagles passing game. They did not make Jalen Hurts uncomfortable, I don't think, at any point in the game. I thought Dak Prescott played pretty well. Again, not the most gaudy numbers in the world, 21 of 34, 188 yards. Again, no touchdowns thrown. But I thought this Cowboys offense looked pretty decent at most of the game. You expect that because yes, when Dak Prescott plays, the Cowboys offense does pretty well. They're like a top 10 offense, at times fringe, maybe top 5. You add George Pickens to CeeDee Lamb, so now you finally have a receiver that you have to actually pay attention to, and you can't key in on CeeDee Lamb. I thought Dak missed George Pickens a few times. I thought they really could have. That was actually could have won this game. Like CeeDee Lamb, I think is a prime suspect for who's to blame for why the Cowboys did not pull this one out. He had critical drops. I mean, one towards the end of the game, I've seen CD make that catch a million times. He's got to bring that in. If he does bring that in, I think the Cowboys actually win the game. So I look at this game coming away where it's like, yeah, as great as Jalen Hurts played on offense, the defense is definitely a huge concern. And I thought Dallas could have won that game. Javonte Williams, 2 rushing touchdowns. I think Dak missed, like I said, I think Dak missed George Pickens a few times. And then CD, just having 3 drops, that's a big deal. That literally was the reason why the game swung the way that it did. If CD makes that catch towards that corner, I think the Cowboys actually win this game.